president, getting the Secret Service protection over his house, the briefings, planning the address tonight. And you contrast that with what we heard last night from President Trump, who seemed to be locked into a lot of the grievances and anger, but not have much in the way of actual evidence of any fraud or impropriety taking place that would sufficiently impact the outcome of the election.
Seemed to have the posture of a fighter last night. Dana, what was your observation based on the communication so far? What do you think?
Well, I am really curious about the decision-making behind this idea that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will give a primetime address tonight at 8 p.m. I feel like that is premature. I feel like even the hour that they've chosen at 8 p.m. To me would signify something like they're going to claim that this is over and that he has been declared the winner, but he has not been declared the winner. And he could declare himself the winner, but I don't think that is the kind of legitimacy that he would even need going forward if he were to win in the end here. So I think that seems premature. Maybe they have indication that they will be in a position to make that case tonight to the American people, but I really have to say, to me, it just seems like it's way too soon.
Well, what do you think the strategy is there then? I mean, think about what the message could be. Does he say, I've got the best path and it's time to concede?
Well,
I mean, no one's called this thing.
I know. And that's why I just think that it's just a little bit too early to be, one, signaling that you're going to do this address. In fact, we found out that they were going to do this 8 p.m. address tonight on a Friday night in prime time. We found that out about 4 hours ago. So by late morning or by noon today, that we already knew that they were going to be giving this speech tonight. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, we still have a legal challenge that's going to be heard at 5 p.m. in Nevada. You had, just now, you saw what they just said in Georgia. They have to do a recount, that is what's appropriate. And then in Pennsylvania, we know that count is still ongoing. And even though the mayor there seems to think he knows how that's going to turn out, we don't know how that is going to turn out until it is declared. And that could be coming at any moment. Again, I just feel like that speech that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden want to give can be given at any time. It doesn't have to be given prematurely.
Okay, Dana, thank you for that. Katie, thanks, and Juan as well. I want to bring in constitutional law expert, Fox News contributor Jonathan Turley. Sir, join the conversation here. There's a legal challenge in Nevada that has been approved by a judge. It will be heard around 5 o'clock East Coast time in Nevada. What do you make of that challenge on behalf of the Trump campaign?
I think the Nevada challenge is the most interesting as in terms of legal analysis. We can't assume that either side is going to prevail. We have to look at the evidence and the allegations. Now, what is being alleged in Nevada is that they have identified thousands of people who were ineligible to vote because they lived outside the state for the 30 days prior to the balloting, or they were actually deceased. Now, those are very significant allegations, and they would affect a large number of ballots in a close contest. But the thing that some of us are looking at more closely is that this type of challenge goes to the heart of the concerns over the massive increase of mail-in voting. The entire mail-in voting system is based on these voting lists that are notoriously out of date. And so all these ballots went out to millions of people, and there were questions as to the authentication of signatures and the general security used in terms of allowing these votes to be counted. If the Nevada challenge is found to be itself valid, if these were ineligible voters, it could have a spillover effect. These could be common elements in other states like Pennsylvania, where they also had this massive use of mail-in ballots. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to prevail, but it also means that we have to wait for the evidence. The other thing is that this is still an early stage. There's balloting, then there's the tabulation stage, then there's the canvassing stage, and then there's the certification stage. We're only at the tabulation stage.
If I could, Professor, I think you were with us earlier today when the Philadelphia mayor was asked a question. It was about 3 hours ago. He had a strong reaction to that. Here's what he said, and I'll get you to talk about that next.
I think what the president needs to do is, frankly, put his big boy pants on. He needs to acknowledge the fact that he lost, and he needs to congratulate the winner, just as Jimmy Carter did, just as George H.W. Bush did, and frankly, just as Al Gore did. and stop this and let us move forward as a country. And that's my feeling. I doubt he'll listen to me.
I don't have a ton of time. What did you make of that when it came out to talk about the status
I
of
thought,
the recount, or the count, rather, I should say?
I thought it was outrageous. I mean, he bulldozed whatever high ground the Democrats had. He said that seconds after they said they were still counting votes. And by the way, Al Gore challenged the results. That's why we went all the way to the Supreme Court. It took 41 days. So I have no idea what he's talking about, but it is really inappropriate for him at a stage when they're still counting ballots to demand a concession in a razor-thin election.
Thank you, sir. Jonathan Turley, talk to you a bit later today. Thank you. As mentioned, we do expect to hear from Joe Biden tonight. An update from Wilmington. We'll go to the ground there, get a report. Plus, the Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, was talking today. What was her message for divided Democrats? In a moment, we'll get to that.
This program is brought to you by Progressive, celebrating 8 years of donating cars to vets with its Keys to Progress program.
We're at the movies and we need to silence our phone. Who knows where that button is?
I don't have silent.
Everyone does, right up here.
It happens to all of us. We buy a new home and we turn into our parents. What I do is help new homeowners overcome this.
Was that an adjustable spanner? Good choice, Steve.
Okay, don't forget, you're not assisting him. You hired him. You have nowhere to sit. You have too many. Who else reads books about submarines?
My dad.
Yeah.
Oh, those are...
Progressive can't protect you from becoming your parents, but we can protect your home and auto when you bundle with us.
Look at that.
Now is the time for a new bath from Bathfitter. Every Bathfitter bath is installed quickly, safely, and beautifully with a lifetime warranty. Go from old to new, from worn to wow. The beautiful bath you've always wanted, done right, installed by one expert technician, all in one day. We've been creating moments like these for 35 years, and we're here to help you get started. Book your free virtual or in-home design consultation today.
My teeth were hurting. I knew there was something that had to get done.
It's your mouth, but you feel bad from head to toe. It really hurts.
It's not just a pretty smile, it's your health.
When I found Clear Choice, everything changed right there and then.
Getting dental implants makes all the difference.
That was the new beginning for me, for a long, healthy life.
Hi, Phil Swift here. This storm season, you need the entire Flex Seal family of products. Seal up cracks and holes to prevent wind and water from damaging your home. Push Flex Paste deep into wet surfaces to help prevent flood damage. Severe storms can be a nightmare. Now you can patch huge holes to seal up roof leaks. Get the Flex Seal family of products at these fine retailers.
Do you know how it feels to live with schizophrenia?
I am a good parent.
Jared?
I'm hearing the most awful things. People shouting at me.
It's okay. When you live with schizophrenia like us, it can feel like you're living in a different world. You should definitely talk to your doctor and ask about Fanapt.
Okay.
Fanapt is approved for the treatment of schizophrenia in adults. In clinical trials, Fanapt significantly improves symptoms of schizophrenia compared to placebo.
Cynthia, are you okay?
I feel like everyone's out to get me.
Fanapt may change your heart rhythm, which could elevate risk of sudden death. Your doctor will consider this when deciding among treatments, and may prescribe another medication first, or may instruct you to take a smaller dosage of Fanapt.
Remember, you're not alone. There is help.
Call 8557-FANAPT.
Attention Zantac users. The FDA requested manufacturers to pull Zantac and products containing ranitidine off the market, noting exposure to unacceptable levels of a cancer-causing agent. If you or a loved one was diagnosed with cancer after regular use of Zantac or ranitidine products, you might be entitled to financial compensation. If you have any of these cancers, time is critical. Call now for a free consultation. If you don't win, you pay nothing.
Call 800-793-6956.
I need to sell my house. Now, there are a lot of places that claim to know how much it's worth, but they don't really know my house or my neighborhood, and they definitely don't show me all my options. That's where HomeLight comes in. I just answer a few questions, and HomeLight gives me a side-by-side comparison of my options, personalized for my needs. And they'll show me what verified buyers will pay for my house right now. It's easy, and it's free. No matter how you choose to sell your home, selling starts at HomeLight. Get started today at HomeLight.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Rolling on. It appears Joe Biden will make a statement tonight. We've been closely watching the count in Pennsylvania and Georgia throughout the day. Both states have now flipped in favor of the former vice president. We're checking with the Biden team now. Jackie Heinrich is live in Wilmington, Delaware. Jackie, what are you hearing there? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Bill. It feels like Groundhog Day out here. Tuesday's set is still up. They did mic checks a little while ago, just like they did around this time yesterday. But there is one key difference. We do expect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to take the stage tonight around 8 o'clock in what a lot of people are feeling is going to be a victory speech. Their margins are holding in the key battlegrounds they expected to win. They feel so comfortable they didn't even hold a press briefing today because yesterday's information still holds. Now, I talked to the campaign's foremost lawyer, Bob Bauer. He says there is zero worry that any of these lawsuits delay the process because the cases have no merit. He referenced this case explained yesterday as an example.
The Trump campaign requested that Georgia counties separate any and all late arriving ballots. Well, that's interesting because that's what election officials are already doing because that's what the law requires. So you have a suspicion that is expressed as the basis for a lawsuit demanding that election officials do what election officials are already doing.
Now, the campaign watched the president's remarks last night, and one person told me over text that it was a sign that it is getting desperate, that these claims are baseless, and they called it a sure sign that he knows he's losing. They're also, the campaign, reminding folks that the president can be evicted from the White House if he refuses to accept the results of the race after he indicated today that he doesn't expect to concede even when the race is called. The campaign spokesman told me, as we said on July 19th, the American people will decide this election. The United States government is perfectly capable of escorting trespassers out of the White House. In the meantime, Biden is still waiting for the votes to be counted before making any sort of declaration, but he does fully expect to become the president-elect, Bill.
Jackie, thank you. Jackie Heinrich in Wilmington. Election officials, meanwhile, in Pennsylvania, still counting ballots, 20 electoral votes in that state. From the Fox Business Network, Connell McShane is live on the ground again today in Harrisburg. What are you hearing, Connell? Where are we?
Well, the trend certainly, Bill, as you know, has not been President Trump's friend here in Pennsylvania. His lead in the state that he had early on was built with very strong support from his supporters who came out on Election Day itself and voted in person. But as these mail-in ballots have been counted the last couple of days, that lead earlier today eventually turned to a deficit with former Vice President Biden moving ahead. He's really dominated the former vice president among those who have voted through the mail. Here in Pennsylvania and in other states, we've been watching especially the votes as they're counted in Philadelphia. Mr. Biden there has been taking in more than 80% of the vote in Philadelphia County. And here in Harrisburg, the state capital, a small group of pro-Trump protesters on the Capitol steps earlier today expressing some displeasure with the counting process itself. We've also had Republicans who sued the Secretary of State in Pennsylvania over some of the provisional ballots. A judge had a ruling earlier in the day. Some of those ballots would have to be segregated, same as the late arriving mail-in ballots. And the Trump campaign does continue to pursue a number of other legal challenges as well. Big picture, we should say so far, no evidence of any kind of widespread voter fraud has emerged here in the state of Pennsylvania. We are following some of those avenues the campaign is pursuing, however, a request, for example, to join an existing case at the United States Supreme Court on the 3-day ballot extension. There was some news made on that last night and comments made by Secretary of State Kathy Bookfar here in the state. She had a news number. In fact, Bill, she says she does not expect those ballots, even if they're challenged in court later on, to have an impact on the result here in the state.
Thank you, Connell. We'll get back to you if there's more, too, from Harrisburg. Nice to see you in Pennsylvania. Thank you. Still awaiting results from some of these critical states, including more on PA, as well as Nevada and Georgia, although there's a change in Nevada. Bring that to you in a moment. What's Karl Rove thinking about at this hour? We'll talk to him live in a moment after this.
I searched and found SoFi and applied for a personal loan. I
paid off my credit cards and felt a weight come off my shoulders. Thank you, SoFi, for a great experience and for helping me get my money right.
It's an important time to save. With Priceline, you can get up to 60% off amazing hotels. And when you get a big deal, you feel like a big deal. Priceline. Every trip is a big deal.
We're all putting things off, especially in these times. But some things are too serious to be ignored. If you still have symptoms of Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, even after trying other medications, it may be a sign of damaging inflammation, which left untreated could get much worse. Please make an appointment to see your gastroenterologist right away or connect with them online. Once you do, seeing the doctor is one less thing to worry about. Need help finding a doctor? Head to crohnsandcolitis.com.
At home with Robert, retired burglar and family man.
Setting up SimpliSafe Home Security was a piece of cake. No tools or wiring. Anyone can do it in less than 30 minutes.
Welcome to SimpliSafe.
And voice prompts guide you.
Motion sensor detected.
SimpliSafe even calls you when you're done to confirm everything's working correctly.
All set, thanks. It's so easy, I realized I could tackle any project.
Are you losing your hair? Capillus treats pattern hair loss with proven laser therapy.
Laser therapy is an FDA-cleared treatment for hair loss. What laser therapy does, it reboots that blood supply. It reestablishes blood flow, oxygenation. It's a very effective treatment for hair loss.
Using the cap is very simple. I sit pretty much right here, watch TV, and I have it on.
Save up to $500 when you shop our Capillus Cool Winter Sale. Call 888-245-1690 or visit capillus.com.
Attention everyone on Medicare. Did you know that right now is the annual enrollment period for all Medicare recipients? Everyone on Medicare is encouraged to call 800-454-1178 now for your free, no-obligation Medicare benefits review. Now is the time during the Medicare annual enrollment period to see if you are eligible to save money and get additional benefits at little to no additional cost. You don't get these savings or additional benefits automatically, so make sure you call now during the Medicare annual enrollment period to make sure you are getting all the benefits you deserve. If you're not sure you're on the best plan for you, just call the number on your screen now for your free, no-obligation Medicare benefits review. Call before the December 7th deadline. You may be able to save money and receive additional benefits. You may also be eligible for a plan that includes additional benefits like home prescription delivery and expanded at-home telehealth visits. Just call 800-454-1178 now to find out if you're eligible for a Medicare Advantage plan that includes additional benefits like free hearing aids, free eyeglasses, free meal delivery, and free rides to medical appointments. You may also be eligible for $0 monthly premiums, $0 deductibles, or no copays. Just call the toll-free number on your screen now to see if you qualify for additional benefits, including dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drugs. There is no obligation to enroll. The call and Medicare benefits review are absolutely free. If you're not sure if you're on the best plan for you, just call the number on your screen now for your free, no-obligation Medicare benefits review. You don't get these savings and additional benefits automatically, so call before the December 7th deadline. You may be able to save money and receive additional benefits. Call 800-454-1178. 800-454-1178.
I challenge Joe and every Democrat to clarify that they only want legal votes, because they talk about votes, and I think they should use the word legal votes. We want every legal vote counted, and I want every legal vote counted.
Each ballot must be counted, and that's what we're going to see going through now, and that's how it should be. Democracy is sometimes messy. It sometimes requires a little patience as well.
So we are still waiting on a winner 3 days after election night. Joe Biden increasing his lead in Nevada today, although this past hour it's gotten closer. It's also gotten closer in Arizona. He's currently ahead in Pennsylvania, meanwhile, and he's got a margin of 1,500 votes in Georgia. The Trump team mounting legal challenges. We don't know when we can expect a call on this. Karl Rove in a moment on the way forward. First to Jonathan Hunt, who's live on the ground in Las Vegas. We got some new numbers today there. Jonathan, let's start with you as to where we are in Clark County. Hello.
Well, we're looking increasingly bleak, Bill, for President Trump here in Nevada. The new numbers today effectively almost doubled the lead for former Vice President Joe Biden to around 20,000. And with the vast majority of outstanding votes coming from here in heavily Democratic Clark County, there are many smart political minds here saying there is no way for President Trump to come back, get even and pull ahead here. Although the even smarter minds on the Fox News decision desk have not made that call as yet. So then we get to the Republican lawsuit that is about to be heard in court here in just around an hour and a half's time. That lawsuit I described yesterday as something of a grab bag of issues, and that is indeed as it has turned out. Now it's been formally submitted. There is a claim of non-reliable signature verification. That's based on the experience of one individual. There is a claim on lack of transparency. That is based on the experience of one individual. The much meatier part of this federal lawsuit is the Republican claim that they have found 3,062 votes cast by people they say do not actually currently live in Nevada, and therefore they say those votes are illegal. Now, the Democrats have intervened in that lawsuit. They have described it to the judge as meritless. They got some backing today for that viewpoint from the registrar here at the Clark County Election Center, who said there are several reasons why people who are not actually resident in Nevada would still have the legal right to vote here. Listen here.
You don't have to live here in order to be eligible to vote here. This is a military town. We have Nellis Air Force Base. We also have several students. It's not out of the ordinary at all for somebody not to live here, but be eligible to vote here.
Now, the first court hearing on that case will be heard by Judge Andrew Gordon, appointed, by the way, by President Obama back in 2012. That hearing coming up at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Okay, we're watching. Thank you, Jonathan Hunt in Las Vegas. I want to bring in Carl Rove right now. Carl, good afternoon there in Austin. We haven't talked a lot about North Carolina today, but you want to, so let's go ahead and figure out what's happening there in the Tar Heel State.
Well,
what do you say?
I just think it's not being talked about because it's not controversial. 5% of the vote yet to be counted, but Trump is up by 1.4%. The vote that's out is distributed almost equally all across the state, red counties, blue counties. So whatever happens in that remaining 5% is not likely to affect his 77,000 vote lead that much. 1.4%. This state is very likely to end in his column. But these others are either showing difficulty for him to get to or are totally up in the air. Think about this.
Show us what you see there. Go ahead.
Yeah, Georgia, less than 2%. The two men are tied at 49.4, but Biden is up by 1,582 votes. Now, if this ends up less than 0.5% between them, and I think that's what it's likely to be, then a recount could be done upon request. And at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see a recount request. Arizona, 7% is out. Biden is up 1.3. This number's been dropping today. And tonight at 9 p.m., they will have more numbers. One of the reasons it's dropping is that we're getting to the end of the mail-in ballot that are being counted. They vote them, they verify them sequentially, starting with the earliest to the latest. And what happens in Arizona is it's a practice that people take their mail-in ballot, go to their polling place, show their driver's license, ID, drop the ballot off because it's safer than mailing it, and they don't have to wait in a line for a machine to open up. And so these actually, the election day mail-ins that are actually the drop-in votes tend to mirror what the election day did, and the election day was pretty good in most places for President Trump. But this state is likely to tighten. The big question is whether there's enough out in that 7% for it to erase that. It's gone down, but it hasn't dissipated it very much.
Okay,
Pennsylvania?
I know you got Pennsylvania and Nevada. Do it quickly, then I got a critical question about Congress. Go ahead, finish up.
PA, 4% out. Biden up by 0.2. This number has been growing. I think it's going to continue to grow. And then Nevada, as we just heard, tough to get that 20,000 votes erased because what's left out is generally Clark County, which is Democrat.
Okay, so if Joe Biden is the next president, you got to battle for Congress, right? Right, Carl? I mean,
right.
You've got a Senate battle here in Georgia where David Perdue is 0.2 percentage points below 50 plus 1, which means that goes to a runoff. that goes with the other race in Georgia that's a runoff. That's January 5th. And that would be for the control of Congress, would it not, in Senate? How do you see that?
Well, yeah, there are 50 Republicans in the Senate today, 48 Democrats. This would be result in who controls the Congress, whether it's tied or the Republicans control it. Full disclosure, I've been asked to lead a fundraising effort on behalf of the two Republicans, which I will do. But I think it's going to be a barn burner that's going to cost a lot of money, and it's going to go to January 5th. I think the Republicans have the upper hand. As you say, David Perdue came 0.02% from avoiding a runoff and being reaffirmed as the United States Senator.
0.2 of a point, right?
49.8.
Quickly, Carl.
No. Yeah, 2/100ths. I think it's 49.98.
Okay, it might be. We've got 49.8, but again, I mean, this thing's been going back and forth. I've got 30 seconds. If you see two Senate races and Joe Biden is the president-elect, you have to be sworn in. You've got the balance of power hanging out there in Congress. You got all these issues about socialism and the far left and the progressive movement. How do Republicans and conservatives and middle of the roads feel in Georgia about that potential impossibility?
Well, I think a lot of people would like divided government and a governor on the excesses of a Biden administration. And remember, a lot of Biden's problem is that a lot of his vote was against Trump and not necessarily for him, and have accomplished their task. I think those voters are going to be a little bit more inclined, marginally more inclined, to stay home on Election Day, and the Republicans are going to be more energized to turn out.
Okay, regardless whether it's Trump or Biden, it's going to be something to watch.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carl.
Right.
Nice to see you this week down in Austin again. Thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
Speaker Pelosi trying to unite her party after Republicans picked up some seats in the House. Plus control of the Senate, as we mentioned, awaits. The insiders, Chris Hahn and Josh Holmes, join me next.
He won in districts, Trump districts, with Trump not on the ballot. In the next election, he will be on the ballot.
The most powerful thriller of the year is Let Him Go.
I won't be coming back without him.
Right behind you. Diane Lay, Kevin Costner. Let Him Go. Rated R. Today.
Besides calling and texting, I told Consumer Cellular at CCNI video call the grandkids twice a week. We got the perfect plan and the hashtag MyFairCC.
Hashtag maximum attitude.
Talk, text, and data as low as $20 a month. See how much you can save at consumercellular.com.
Pete Talbot here again, along with my son Seth with Relief Factor. And just being in our warehouse here brings back some pretty fun memories. Our first warehouse was a rented 20 by 20, and that was just 5 years ago.
And early on, we started receiving some amazing testimonials from people who had been in all kinds of pain, literally from head to foot.
For the last 8 years, I've been in bed, basically. After taking Relief Factor, when I woke up in the morning, I could open and close my hands, stand on my feet without them killing me. Gardening, woodworking, and just the sense of life that I didn't have before. Just been amazing.
Relief Factor has 4 key ingredients that help your body deal with and even lower inflammation. And now tens of thousands of people are taking Relief Factor every day.
This is why Seth here created the 3-week quick start and then discounted it to only $19.95. We want it easy and inexpensive, and it's only available at relieffactor.com.
We're Carvana, the company who invented car vending machines and buying a car 100% online. Now we've created a brand new way for you to sell your car. Whether it's a few years old or dinosaur old, we want to buy your car. Go to Carvana and enter your license plate, answer a few questions, and our techno wizardry calculates your car's value and gives you a real offer in seconds. When you're ready, we'll come to you, pay you on the spot, and pick up your car. That's it. So ditch the old way of selling your car and say hello to the new way at Carvana.
The vote count continues. When will Americans finally get answers? And what's next for the president's camp? Mark Levin sounds off on Election Latest tonight on Hannity.
Selling a home is expensive and stressful. So we set out to create a better home selling experience with a network of the most successful real estate agents in America that'll sell your home for as little as a 2% commission.
The icing on the cake with the Ideal Agent was that we saved $12,000 in commission.
They were so stress-free, the whole process was amazing, and I would definitely recommend them.
We are not a discount brokerage. These are top local agents that'll get you the best results.
Helping families with mesothelioma is all we do.
My firm has been offering a free book on mesothelioma for over 10 years. Since that time, hundreds of people with mesothelioma have trusted us to represent them. We have local offices throughout the U.S., and there is no risk to you. Mesothelioma really is all we do. Call us at 1-800-333-4485. That's 1-800-333-4485. Or go to mesobook.com.
Attention! Are you on Medicaid or Medicare? The U.S. government recently announced that 12.2 million citizens are eligible for additional benefits beyond what they receive from original Medicare or Medicaid. These additional benefits include up to $1,000 of dental credit, up to $1,200 to spend at your local pharmacy, up to $144 added back to your Social Security check every month. Call Go Medicare today to see if you are one of the over 12 million people that qualifies for these benefits. Call now at 800-838-1064. Call and benefits review are 100% free with no obligation to enroll. These benefits will make a difference in your health insurance coverage with additional benefits like dental, vision, and over-the-counter medications. Make Medicare and Medicaid work for you. Call Go Medicare today at 800-838-1064. That's 800-838-1064.
Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi holding her first news conference today after Republicans managed to pick up some House seats from Democrats on Tuesday. Chad Perkins got a check of that live on the Hill. Chad, how goes it? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Bill. Well, you know, Democrats were expecting to win seats here. They thought even on a bad night they might only gain 5 seats. They lost seats here, but House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says only one thing matters. They're in the majority.
As I said, we've lost some battles, but we won the war. We have the gavel.
Democrats saw their majority slip potentially as low as 223 seats. That's just above 218 needed for a majority. Some moderate Democrats from swing districts blasted liberals. Freshman Democrat Abigail Spanberger barely won and says Democrats discussing socialism and defunding the police is why Democrats lost. But progressives argue they're the ones who helped boost Joe Biden against President Trump. Now, Bill, here's the key thing here. Democrats are going to have more liberals in their majority going forward. That's going to be key here. You would think that they would be able to pass more liberal legislation, but because their numbers are going to be so reduced, that's an issue. You can't pass these big progressive bills when you don't have much of a turning radius. Back to you.
Thank you, Chad. Control of the Senate, meanwhile, still up for grabs. We want to bring in Josh Holmes, former Chief of Staff to Senate Leader Mitch McConnell, and Chris Hahn, former aide to Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. That's what he said. Host of the Aggressive Progressive Podcast, which is a great name, but it doesn't beat Hammer Time. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
And you got that right, and that's all that matters.
Right on. Sometimes. The RNC is looking for money, Josh, to help up with this legal battle at the moment. You've got Democrats in the House who apparently had a rather heated meeting late yesterday. Where's that going to go?
Well, I got to tell you, the funny thing about Nancy Pelosi's leadership in the House and basically what she's asked her moderate members to do throughout the course of 2020 is completely try to underestimate the intelligence of the American people. And basically, her theory of the case was you could do entirely left-wing things. You could have completely unattainable coronavirus packages. You could try to run national debt up trillions and trillions and hope that American people basically weren't paying attention. Ultimately, they would just blame everything on Trump. Well, lo and behold, she found out on Tuesday that that's not the case, and her members are certainly unhappy about it. The biggest challenge that she's got going forward, as Chad mentioned in the lead-up, is the governing coalition in the House looks an awful lot different than it did in 2019 and 2020, and she's going to have some challenges.
We heard those. Here's Abigail Spanberger, she's a Democrat from Virginia. Pretty middle of the road, won a tight re-election battle, and this was her comment on that phone call.
We lost members who shouldn't have lost. The number one concern and things that people brought to me in my that I barely rewon was defunding the police. And if we are classifying Tuesday as a success from a congressional standpoint, we will get torn apart in 2022.
She onto something, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, defund the police is a dumb statement for PR purposes and for electoral purposes.
Unless
you want to
mean
reform the police, you want to modernize the police, you want to reform the police. That's different than defund the police. That scares people in suburbia, and that's never going to work as an electoral strategy. And the Democrats do not mean that. And even the people out in the street talking about that, that's not what they mean either. It gets lost. Anything you got to translate is bad, like they always say. If you're explaining, you're losing. Look, I think the seats in Georgia are going to be very competitive. We'll see what happens. This is going to be the first major election post-Trump, and we'll see what the turnout looks like. But Georgia has been changing for years. I think Stacey Abrams deserves a lot of credit for the organization she put together in Georgia, which is giving Joe Biden that state today. And we'll see what happens in January. I'm excited. I think it's going to be a real interesting race, and a lot is on the line.
Yeah, you got 8,000 military and overseas ballots still out in Georgia. Josh, come back to Chris's point there. Here is the tweet from AOC. So the whole progressivism is bad argument just doesn't have any compelling evidence that I've seen. When it comes to defunding socialism attacks, people need to realize there are racial resentment attacks. You're not going to make that go away. You can make it less effective. She went on to say you should have spent more money online in the final week of your campaign. How's this split going to bridge itself?
Yeah, I mean, look, she's on basically aligned with Nancy Pelosi in her take. I mean, what she's saying is that, you know, anything socialism, any sort of critique against socialism is inherently racist. I don't know how turning your doctor's office into the DMV has a racial component, but most Americans believe that that's probably not a good idea. But what she goes on to say in that tweet string actually was sort of interesting, and that she's not really defending that there is much political danger. She thinks there is political danger in the way they've gone about trying to defend things like defunding the police. Her problem was that nobody was very good at the messaging, and that they didn't put very much behind paid media or a digital strategy. She had a very tactical critique of a lot of her colleagues that ultimately lost, which I thought was hilarious. It was basically like, you know, look, I understand that this is politically perilous for you all, but like, let's get better at masking our true intentions, which, you know, I mean, again, the American people are smarter than that.
It seems as if the story's moving in that direction a little bit in the House. Chris, make it quick. Thank you.
No, I don't think that's the case at all. Look, I think that there is some messaging problem on that end. There are a lot of progressive things that most Americans believe in, but sometimes this rhetoric seems extremes, and Republicans are better at turning it around on its head. Democrats have to take that on head first. She's right. We do need to spend more money on digital media and less money on traditional television. I hate to say that on TV, but that is true. That's the way it's got to go going forward.
Well, they can spend it on your podcast. Thank you, guys. Chris, Josh, thank the insiders. Something was born today. Remember that. Thank you, guys. Still ahead on this election week, we'll go back to the board and where we are now and where we might be heading next.
The Martins here just realized they outgrew their home, so they used Rocket Mortgage to finance their next one. Need to know if your next home fits your budget and your family? Rocket can.